Greetings, friend of karmic affinity. Have you ever felt so fragile that just one more small pressure would shatter your mind into pieces? Life is inherently a series of unannounced challenges, from painful losses to the trivial worries of daily life. We often mistakenly believe that being strong means tensing up to resist, becoming as hard as a boulder. But in the wisdom of the Buddha, true strength takes an entirely different form. It is not emotional callousness, but the power of mindfulness. It is the ability to observe every storm passing by without the heart being swept away, like a mountain standing still amidst the clouds. Today, I want to share with you 6 core spiritual habits to help you build a resilient inner strength so that no matter how life pushes you, your heart remains serene, stable, and unbreakable. Habit 1. Sit with pain. The first habit, and also the most difficult to practice yet, the one that brings the most profound transformation, is learning to sit still with your pain. My dear friend, the natural human reflex when touching a hot coal is to pull the hand back. Similarly, when facing unpleasant emotions like sadness, loneliness, or disappointment, survival instinct urges us to run away. We try to fill that void with work, noisy parties, food, or mindless scrolling. We do everything just to avoid facing the inner emptiness. But do you realize that the more you run, the larger the darkness seems to grow, and the more persistently it clings to you? The Buddha taught us a core truth to liberate the mind, the clear distinction between pain and suffering. Pain is the unavoidable encounter of human life, such as illness, separation, or failure. That is the first arrow. But suffering is the second arrow that we shoot into ourselves through resistance, denial, and fear. We suffer not because we are in pain, but because we do not accept that pain. So today, instead of turning your back and running, I invite you to do something extraordinarily brave. Stop. Choose a quiet place to sit, take a deep breath, and invite that pain to sit down with you like an old guest visiting. Do not try to chase it away. Do not judge it as bad. And do not try to fix it immediately. Simply observe and feel. Place your hand on your chest and ask, where is this feeling occurring in my body? Is it a tightness in the chest or a weight on the shoulders? Breathe in and send gentleness to that painful area. Tell it, I see you, I am here with you, and you are allowed to be present. When you stop fighting, the tension will vanish. You will realize the pain is not a monster wanting to devour you, but like a child crying for attention, or a stern teacher bringing a message of healing. Inner strength does not come from always being happy, but from the ability to sit firmly in the eye of the emotional storm without being swept away. When you dare to face and embrace your own pain, you will see it gradually soften, melt, and transform into wisdom. That is the first step to becoming invincible before all waves of life. Habit 2. Stop reacting. Start responding. My dear friend, after learning to sit still with pain, we need to equip ourselves with a vital survival skill in this noisy world, shifting from unconscious reaction to mindful response. Observe your life for a day. Do we often live like pre-programmed machines? When someone says something unpleasant, we immediately react with anger. When a displeasing work message appears, we immediately become anxious and restless. We let external circumstances pull the strings of our emotions like wooden puppets. If they want us happy, they praise us. If they want us sad, they criticize. When you live by reaction, you are handing the mastery of your life over to others. The Buddha taught that freedom does not mean you can do anything you want. True freedom lies in the ability to master the mind before external influences. The secret to this power lies in a very simple yet miraculous concept, the pause. Between a stimulus and your action, there always exists a sacred silence. For the unmindful, this silence is so narrow, it seems non-existent, causing them to act on old survival instincts from the past. But for the practitioner, they know how to widen that silence with a mindful breath. Next time, when anger flares up, please say nothing and do nothing for the first 3 seconds. Take a deep breath. In that brief pause, wisdom will have time to arrive. You will shift from the state of reacting, which is the action of fear and blind self-defense, to the state of responding. Responding is a choice of wisdom. You see the anger of the person across from you, but you choose not to take it. You see the trouble, but you choose the solution instead of complaining. When you know how to stop and observe before acting, you cut the strings of the puppet. You are no longer dragged away by old karmic habits. You become free, calm, and difficult to shake. That is the posture of a mind as steady as a high mountain. Habit 3. Discipline your mind. Every morning. To maintain a calm response throughout the long day, you need thorough preparation from the moment dawn breaks. The third habit is establishing mental discipline every morning. My dear friend, look back honestly at how we usually start a day. Is the first unconscious act upon opening your eyes to reach for your phone. When you do that, you are throwing the doors of your house of consciousness wide open for the noisy world outside to invade. Negative news, urgent work emails, glamorous social media images. They all rush in like a flood, sweeping away the fragile peace recreated after a night's sleep. You start your day in a passive, anxious, and depleted state. In the wisdom of mindfulness, the morning is the most sacred time. Your mind right now is like fertile and pure soil. What you sow into that land in the first few minutes will determine the fruit of that entire day. Therefore, instead of letting the world define your mood, proactively set your own vibrational frequency. Commit to spending at least 15 minutes at the start of the day to practice wholeness with yourself. Please do not hurry out of bed or touch electronic devices. Sit up slowly, place your hand on your heart, and connect with your breath. Feel life flowing in your veins. This is when you practice mindfulness, meaning fully recognizing your presence in this moment. You can meditate, drink a cup of tea in silence, or simply watch the morning sunlight. The important thing is not what you do, but that you do it with an unburdened mind. After settling in, set a right intention for the new day. Instead of dryly listing to-dos, ask yourself, what mindset do I want to bring into the world today? Do I want to bring peace, patience, or compassion to everyone? When you set a clear intention, it becomes a lighthouse guiding every action and word throughout your day. Discipline here is not harsh restriction, but strict protection of the garden of the soul. When you conquer the habit of distraction in the morning, you will have enough inner strength to conquer every pressure of the day. A mind anchored firmly at dawn will not be easily blown away by the winds of life in the afternoon. That is the secret of an unbreakable mind. Habit 4. Let go of what you can't control. Having built discipline for the mind every morning, we move to the fourth habit, the most liberating yet challenging one, learning to let go of what is not within your control. My dear friend, look at the invisible backpack you carry on your shoulders every day. Is it filled with heavy stones of worry about the weather, traffic, the economy, or someone else's attitude toward you? We often live with a disastrous illusion that if we try hard enough and worry enough, we can bend the world to our will. We want loved ones to live the way we think is right. We want the future to happen exactly as our script. And when reality flows in its natural direction, contrary to our expectations, we collapse and feel betrayed by life. But the truth is, you can only master your actions and attitudes, while the results and the world's reactions belong to the law of causes and conditions. Trying to control things beyond your reach is like standing before a storm and screaming for the wind to stop. It only exhausts you. Letting go here is absolutely not resignation, weakness, or irresponsibility. It is an act of great wisdom. It is when you have done your best with all sincerity, and then you step back, relaxing your hands to let the flow of life operate. You trust that whatever the result, you will be okay. When you let go of the need to control, you will feel your shoulders become light and a sense of freedom flood your soul. And in this journey of letting go, there is a most jagged stone we must courageously set down: resentment. This fourth habit requires you to practice forgiveness. Many of us are nurturing monsters of the past in our minds. We remember vividly every hurtful word and every betrayal caused by others years ago. We hold on to that pain, nurturing it every day like a treasure, because we think it is a way to punish the other person or protect ourselves from being hurt again. But listen to the compassionate warning of the Buddha. Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. The person who hurt you might be living happily somewhere. They may have even forgotten what happened. Only you, with the hot coal in your hand, are the one being burned every day. Forgiveness does not mean you agree with their wrong actions, nor does it mean you must go back to being friends. Forgiveness is a gift you give to yourself. It is the act of cutting the chain that binds you to the person who hurt you. You declare that they no longer have the power to make you suffer for one more second. You release them, and simultaneously, you release yourself. Extend that compassion to yourself as well. Forgive the times you stumbled, the times you were weak, or the times you trusted the wrong person. The you of today is much more mature than the you of yesterday. Do not use present wisdom to judge past innocence. When you learn to let go of control over the future and let go of resentment toward the past, you become an impregnable fortress. Nothing can hurt a heart that has decided to be free. Habit 5. Be wise with your environment. After clearing the internal rubbish, we must seriously look at the external environment in which we live and breathe every day. The fifth habit requires courage and clarity to perform a purification of your living environment. In other words, mindful selection of what you allow to enter your life. My dear friend, imagine your mind as a precious seed. No matter how healthy and full of potential that seed is, if you sow it in arid land full of rocks and toxic weeds, it will struggle to sprout and grow high. The Buddha always emphasized the importance of the Sangha, the community of practitioners who support one another. He understood that we are creatures deeply influenced by our surroundings. Energy is highly contagious. If you want your mind to be steady, you cannot place yourself in the middle of chaotic and negative energies. First, examine your social relationships. There are people with whom you feel heard, encouraged, and at peace. But there are also those who always bring complaints, criticism, envy, or sow fear in your heart. If you are constantly exposed to those toxic sources, the lamp of peace within you will be easily blown out. Selection here does not mean you become cold or hate anyone. It means you know how to love and protect yourself. You have the right to create necessary distances. You have the right to refuse useless meetings that drain your energy. Proactively seek and connect with wise friends and those with mindful lifestyles, because their presence is the cool water nourishing your soul. Next, pay attention to your mental diet. Every day we carefully choose clean food for our bodies, yet we often unintentionally let the mind consume toxic dishes. Violent news, social media arguments, gloomy movies, all are food entering the consciousness. If you ingest trash, your mind becomes a landfill. Practice gentle strictness with yourself by turning off electronic devices, stopping the following of negative content, and replacing it with good books, soothing music, or the beauty of nature. Finally, don't forget to care for your physical living space. A cluttered room is often a mirror reflecting a cluttered mind. Spend time cleaning, rearranging your home, and discarding items no longer needed. When the external space becomes minimal, airy, and organized, you will find your mind automatically settling, becoming clearer and lighter. Remember, protecting your living environment is not selfishness or eccentricity. It is how you build a sacred sanctuary of peace for yourself, where the seeds of stability have the best conditions to bear fruit. You are the gatekeeper of your soul's house. Only open the door to guests who bring serenity. Habit 6. Remind yourself daily who you are. Finally, the sixth habit, the most important anchor to keep the boat of consciousness from drifting in the vast sea of life. Remind yourself every day who you truly are. My dear friend, the world out there is very good at labeling you. They say you are an employee, a parent, a success, or a failure. They value you based on the money you earn, the house you live in, or the appearance you possess. And the greatest tragedy is that after a long time listening to those noises, we begin to believe we are those labels. We forget our original brilliant and pure nature. When social roles are stripped away, when failure hits, we collapse thinking we have lost all value. But in the wisdom of mindfulness, you are not a name, not a profession, and certainly not the fleeting emotions passing through. Engrave this in your heart so as not to fall into the trap of the ego. You are not the black cloud of sadness. You are the vast blue sky compassionately holding that cloud. You are not the violent wave of anger. You are the deep and silent ocean beneath. For the mind to become unbreakable, you need to practice returning to refuge in this true self every day. Do not let the world define you. Relocate your own consciousness every morning. Spend a few minutes in front of the mirror, or sit in silence. Place your hand on your heart and silently remind yourself of affirmations of core value. Tell yourself, I am peace. I am love. I have enough strength and wisdom to pass through every challenge. I am not my past mistakes. I am the growth of the present. Repeating these reminders is not about lulling yourself into illusion, but about awakening the seed of Buddha nature, the seed of stability that has fallen asleep within you. It is like wiping the dust off a mirror so the inherent light can shine. When you know clearly who you are, you will no longer crave external recognition. You will not be hurt when someone misunderstands or judges you, because you know the value of the gem in your pocket does not change whether others see it or not. You will live with a silent pride and a deep humility. That is the firmest anchor keeping you through every storm. No matter how the world turns, as long as you do not lose yourself, you will never lose everything. Remember that true home and return to refuge every day. My dear friend, we have traveled together through the journey of 6 spiritual habits to build a steady mind. From the courage to sit with pain, learning to respond instead of reacting, establishing morning discipline, letting go of control, selecting your environment to regularly reminding yourself of your true self. All these habits are not rigid rules to bind you, but steps leading you to the absolute freedom of the inner self. Before we part, I want to give you one final image to carry with you, the image of the bamboo. In Eastern philosophy, bamboo is the greatest symbol of resilience. Bamboo is not rigid like oak, which breaks when a great storm hits. Bamboo is hollow inside, representing a let-go mind and humility. But its roots cling very deep and intertwine in the earth, representing profound inner strength. When the storm rises, the bamboo softly bends with the wind. It does not oppose, it accepts the curve. But as soon as the wind calms, it snaps back to stand tall, as if nothing ever happened. If heavy snow falls on its branches, the bamboo bends low so the snow slides off, shedding the burden and then reaching high again. That is the spirit of an unbreakable mind. It is not about never knowing sadness or pain, but the ability to be soft to receive, flexible to transform, and resilient to recover after every event. I hope you nourish your heart like that bamboo. Live softly with life, but firmly with the path. Patiently practice these 6 habits every day, bit by bit. There will be times you forget, times you stumble, but it's okay. Just keep returning and start again. If this video brought you a spiritual anchor, please help me spread this wholesome energy by clicking the like and subscribe buttons. Share it with those who need more strength to overcome difficult times. Thank you for listening and for your trust. May you always have a firm root to peacefully pass through all the rainy and sunny seasons of life. Goodbye, and see you in peace.